Three, two, one. Find the hole, find the hole, find the hole. Welcome to this Tech 45 production on the effects of war on the environment. It's going to be a three-part series. This one's going to be focused on how weapons of war affect our environment. I'm finding out more about this every day. The three topics I wanted to discuss are related to the engineering brainpower that has been put to war, especially over the last 100 years. I'd say the tides began to turn around the Civil War. A lot of engineering expertise was starting to be focused on specific tools of war, everything from the Middy ball to different artillery shells to metal-clad warships. So we saw this really ramp up starting the Civil War. The U.S. was taking technologies from all around the world that they saw in armed conflicts and trying to modify them and re-engineer them here in the U.S. So that's been going on for quite a long time, almost 200 years. In World War II, and the desperation towards the end of the war, especially in Europe, the Nazi-run government back then dumped a ton of chemical weapons into the ocean, the oceans that surround Europe. And thank goodness the German government now today is funding a bunch of robotics programs to try to find out and map those contaminants around the ocean. And you can see right here, I'll put up a map of where they currently think they are. But a lot of these canisters that house and encapsulate these chemical weapons are starting to leak. Salt water is very, very difficult on metals, and you couple that with the pressure of the deep ocean, and these canisters are starting to leak. So it's actually kind of a time-sensitive problem now that they've started to detect these chemicals in our oceans. Another one that doesn't get talked about nearly enough is Agent Orange. Agent Orange was an herbicide that was basically militarized in Vietnam to decimate not only the agricultural prowess of our enemy at the time, but also to remove a lot of the foliage, which acted as a great cover and concealment throughout the Vietnam War. So it was, one of the active ingredients in that particular herbicide was 20 times the concentration of the normal threshold for what you would use for an agricultural purpose. And this is one thing you'll see very, very commonly. You'll see, different industrial compounds. When they're engineered for war, they're typically much more concentrated, much more devastating to humans, the environment, and animals. And that's basically to have the maximum lethal or devastating effect within that canister and within that form factor. And so Agent Orange awfully, does not get talked about. And I'd say a more modern one, as we, fought a lot of these wars in austere, diverse, spread out environments, distributed environments in, Kuwait, Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, is burn pits. Here we are, burning everything from batteries to spent munitions, and basically just polluting the air and polluting the countries that we have U.S. soldiers in, but also polluting the U.S. soldiers that are inhaling this particulate matter that's in the air. So in the next episode, we're going to talk about how war and armed conflict, especially in the modern world, just has a devastating effect on the humans that are involved, both the soldiers and war fighters that are involved in the conflict, what it does to them, the civilians that happen to be there present on the battlefield, and then what war does to the participating countries and cultures that are involved. So we'll discuss that more in detail in the next episode.